Hey guys, welcome back to Expat Escape. This week we are going to be potentially debunking a huge myth, and that is one that many of us have seen on YouTube, including myself and Rebecca. Before we came here, we watched so many videos that claim it's $1,000 per month USD to live comfortably here in Da Nang. Well, we put that to the test in real time and tracked our expenses for the last 4 months at comfortable living rates. And now we know exactly how much it actually costs to live here. So today you're going to be getting the non-sugar-coated version of the reality of what it will actually cost you to be here. And I think you guys are going to be very surprised at the results. So let's debunk. Good day guys, welcome back to beautiful Da Nang, which is extremely cloudy and very windy today. And yes, there is a reason I'm wearing sunglasses. I may have got in a fight. There was a very highly polished, freshly Windex glass door which chose to pick a fight with me, and luckily I was successful. Holy shit, I almost got hit by a flock of birds. But anyways, there was a highly polished glass door and it decided to pick a fight with me, in which I was successful at losing. So basically we're in our new apartment and it has a glass wall separator, and I was bent down to pick something up off the floor, and when I stood up and turned, there was a very shiny glass door which was so transparent I could not see it, and I ran face first into it, giving myself a mild concussion, which now gives me very bad light sensitivity. So I'm outside in the clouds and drizzly rain with sunglasses on. Here's the shiny glass door, and if you see this little smudgy circle, this is my concussion head print I left as a souvenir. So you have to be very careful when these are freshly polished, especially given that this was the first room we've ever had with a glass divider. You're kind of not expecting it to be there, and then you stand up and bang. So if anyone's wondering why I'm wearing sunglasses, it's not because I wear my sunglasses at night. So 2 videos ago I posted a everything you should know video about Da Nang, and I actually got really good responses from it and a lot of great questions from you guys and requests asking for more of that type of content, helping you guys get informed about Da Nang before you come here. So in this video, I'm going to do my best to debunk with actual facts all of the videos online saying that you can come here and live a nice, comfortable living in a place like Da Nang for $1,000 a month. Bullshit. So we've been here 3.5, going on 4 months now, and we've tracked all of our expenses to know exactly what it costs to live here. Now the key word to this is living comfortably. I'm not going to say that any of those videos are wrong that say you can live here for $1,000 a month, because it is true. You could in fact live here for $1,000. But the problem is living here for $1,000 a month and living here comfortably for $1,000 a month are 2 extremely different things. And living here comfortably at $1,000 is not the kind of comfort that you are envisioning, which is long, delightful days sitting on the beach in the sun with a cold drink. Now before I go any further, I will state that this $1,000 a month is a question that a lot of people have, and we actually did a lot as well before we got here, because people post videos from Southeast Asia from all over the world. Australians post videos and they post them in Aussie dollars, which makes sense. We're Canadians, we like to post in Canadian dollars for our Canadian friends to see, just like the Americans post in US dollars. This video I am going to put both US and Canadian dollars and Vietnamese dong for money translations for you guys to make it easier. But the general consensus is 1,000 American dollars per month is what you can live comfortably on here. You can't really compare that much to Canadian dollars because our dollar is worth about as much as a US gummy bear, give or take. And in this video I will be walking up and down the beach. If you see me change directions a lot, it's because the sky is very angry and the wind is extremely heavy today. So I don't want to get too far from the bike with my electronics in case the rain comes down in a hurry. I do have my handy dandy umbrella packed on board just in case I get caught in the downpour, but it is so windy I'm pretty sure I'm still going to get soaked even with the umbrella. So I'm going to stay in a very close vicinity to the bike, which is over there. So in this video we're going to tear apart about 9 points which make up what we would consider a comfortable cost of living. So in order to come up with a number to basically say you can live here comfortably at $1,000 a month, you have to factor in all of the things that include comforts, meaning exactly how you would live at home, meaning you have a comfortable place to live, you have transportation so you don't rely on other people in taxis to bring you everywhere, you get to eat the foods that you want and have all the nice amenities like cell phones and be able to go have coffee at the Tim Hortons or the Dunkin' Donuts whenever you want. This is comfort. This is not luxury living, and it's not crazy cheap budget living in a hostel living. This is what you would consider living comfortably, as in you're not being extravagant with anything, but you're also not limiting yourself so you're living miserably. This video is to debunk, is it actually possible to live here $1,000 a month comfortably? First thing on the list is going to be apartments. So if you are in a busy tourist area like Antung, Mayan, that area, you can expect to pay for a comfortable apartment between 6 and 8 million BND per month. Now, yes, you can get cheaper. People say, oh, I rent for 4 million a month. There are places here for 4 million a month, and if you would like to sleep with the rats and the cockroaches, by all means. But if you are lucky enough to find a nice place that is only 4 to 5 million a month, the odds of actually getting one that's available is damn near impossible. We've scoured the marketplace and messaged dozens of apartments and found that not a single one was actually available. They were posted on the marketplace and the ads weren't taken down. So to get one that is actually affordable and cheap and clean is borderline impossible, especially when it's tourist season. Right now it's a little bit easier because it's rainy season, so not as many tourists, but even then it was still difficult to find a place. So we're gonna go with the average of about 8 million for a comfortable apartment. And by comfortable in an apartment, I mean you have a bed, a kitchen table with at least 2 chairs that you can sit and eat. You have a couch, not necessarily a big couch, but a small love seat, 1 TV, 1 bed, maybe a window, not necessarily a view, and a kitchen that you can cook your food, and a bathroom, and a regular size fridge, which in America would be a very tiny fridge, but here the big fridges are actually very small. So all of those things, you will have a comfortable place around 8 million VND. You can go a little cheaper, find one around 7 if you're lucky, but those cheaper, nice ones disappear immediately, so they are very hard to get. So in reality, you're going to be around 8 million. Next thing is going to be food. Average person is going to eat 3 square meals a day with at least 1 drink per meal. Now, I'm not talking go out and get on the beer with every single meal and be absolutely sloshed and dump a couple of million every time you go for something to eat. An average meal cost here for a Westerner is going to be around 150,000 per meal. And a lot of people are going to jump on me in the comments and say, oh, it's way cheaper than that. You can get a bowl of pho and noodles here for 30K. Maybe you can. Will you have diarrhea after? Highly probable. Will you be full or starving in 10 minutes from now? For me, I'm going to be starving 5 minutes from now because it's not enough food. Westerners eat larger portions, and we don't come from eating bowls of noodles and pho and kimchi every single day, if ever. So in reality, you're not going to comfortably come here and eat Vietnamese food 3 times a day if you're not Vietnamese. You're just not, I promise. You will get sick of it. You're going to want Western comforts, you're going to want the things you have at home, sandwiches and burgers and pizzas and healthy salads and different things like that. But I guarantee you're not going to eat Vietnamese food at 50 to 60K or 30K per meal 3 times a day. There's just no way. So to get with reality, average meal is about 150K each. The average cost of a drink is about 30,000. A little less if you get a bottle of water, a little more if you have a beer, or maybe a mixed drink, then you're talking triple, like 100K plus for a mixed drink. So with an average of 180K per meal, 150 for the meal, 30 for the drink, 3 times a day, that's 540K per day Vietnamese. That's 16,200,000 for the month. That will cover you at 3 meals a day. Yes, it will get a little cheaper than that because sometimes you will have a bowl of Vietnamese food and it'll only cost you 50 or 60K. But I'm talking on an average, 3 meals a day, 3 drinks. You can bring the price down as much as you wish depending on how much you eat. Us Westerners, and myself and Rebecca, we go to the gym. We eat a lot of food. Small portions is not a thing for us. When we go out, we're looking for a meal. We're looking for a big portion and we don't want to leave hungry. An additional expense I forgot to mention when we were down at the beach, on top of the 3 meals per day, is also groceries. Sometimes we don't eat out 3 meals per day. We have breakfast at home, so we don't have to get up and head out first thing in the morning. So then you can get nice things like these delicious cookies we get at the local Mega Mart, coffee for at home, and of course this delicious Saigon lager, which is quite cheap. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. I just found a beer aisle in the grocery store. Santa Claus already came, I guess. Santa Claus is coming to town. So our rough expenditure for groceries, we go through about 600K per week, which is not very much, but it's 2.4 million per month, 4 weeks in a month. So if you want to have some groceries at home, which if you want to live comfortably, groceries at home are going to be something you're going to have to look at as an expense. So if you want to have things in the fridge like eggs and coffee and some cookies for your coffee and a few cold beers for when you get back, you're gonna have an additional expense on top of your meals. So be prepared for that as well. This is actually a really nice beer. It's a Saigon lager. Are you supposed to have a beer while you're on YouTube? I don't know. We're gonna have a beer. The next comfort is transportation. You don't want to rely on taxis and everything else. You're gonna want your own vehicle, like we do. It's nice to have a bike. You can rely on a Grab, but that can also get very expensive. If you go to and from breakfast, to and from lunch, and to and from dinner every single day, and then you also go to and from the gym or to and from the grocery store, you could be talking $12 to $15 a day in Grab rides alone per person. So it is actually cheaper to have your own transportation by renting a bike if you can. I have seen people say that you can rent a bike here for $40 to $50 per month. Yes, it is possible. Will you have brakes? Likely not. When we rented a scooter, we wanted something with enough power for both of us to get us out of sticky situations should we get in them. And we also wanted to have something that worked with brakes and a little newer so it's not a piece of shit that's going to break down every day. We want reliability. For that, it comes at a price. We pay 2 million Vietnamese per month, which is still not a lot of money, but it's not 40 bucks. So that's an extra expense for comfort. Home, I wouldn't drive a rundown, broken piece of shit that's going to break down on me every day. I'm going to want something reliable. Comfort. Next is going to be one of the biggest expenses that creep up on you, much like in Canada, the cost of drinking coffee every single day. Average cup of coffee, I'm estimating to be in the ballpark from what we've seen, is about 50K. You can get a cup of coffee for 20 to 30K if you drink a small spoonful of local Vietnamese delicious coffee, but Westerners aren't going to drink that every day. We're coming from climates where it is cold as shit, minus 40 in Western Canada or colder. You're coming down here to 35-degree heat. You do not want a hot cup of coffee, I promise. You're going to want something that's loaded down with ice, like a latte or a venti, frappe, Starbucks, whatever the hell you call those things. You're going to want one of those. And they're not cheap. You're talking 70, 80K in a lot of places. And then Rebecca likes to get a shot of vanilla and a pinch of this and a dash of that. And by the time it's done, you're basically taking out a small mortgage to have a drink. So if you're talking 50K per cup of coffee, you go out once a day for 30 days, that's 1.5 million right there for the month, just in coffee, providing you go once a day. There are days we have 3 coffees a day, 1 at home and we go out for 2 more. Sometimes they're cheap, sometimes they're iced. It's hot here, most of the time they're iced, which means they're way more expensive than 30K. So that 1.5 million is actually on the low end when it comes to coffee costs. The next comfort for people like us, we go to the gym. We're former personal trainers. The gym is a part of our lifestyle, which means it's not something we're willing to give up. We're gonna pay a little extra to be able to have a gym pass. Now you can come to a gym here, and Rebecca went to one where she only paid 500K per month, which is pretty cheap. I think that's only about something like mid-30s Canadian for a gym pass for a month. That's pretty good, considering in Canada we pay 50 to 60 per month. So really, really good price. But the downside is we're coming to a 30+ degree heat climate and the gym has no AC. Good luck on leg day. I'm not willing to make that sacrifice. On leg day, I die even in the coldest of climates. So I'm going to a gym that has air conditioning, and it costs me, based on a 3-month membership, which makes it a little cheaper. You sign up for 3 months, I pay $833,000 per month, which is $2.5 million for a 3-month membership, and that's on sale. So that is significantly more than what she pays, over $330,000 per month more. And then on top of that, if you go to the gym, you may also want to factor in that you're going to want supplements, something that you're not going to get a deal on here. An average tub of protein here is about $70, which is about the same as we pay in Canada. Well, Canada's kind of creeping up more like 100 now, but it's still pretty expensive. So allotting roughly about 1.3 million per month for supplements if you do take them. The next amenity you're going to need is obviously a cell phone, because without maps you're not getting anywhere because it's a maze here. And cell phone is probably the cheapest part of the whole bit. If you don't get a phone plan, you just have a data plan. Like I mentioned in the other video, we're only paying about $7 a month per person for 5 gigs of 5G data per day, 30 days a month. And that is a really good price. We signed up for a 3-month pass, which actually made it a little cheaper again. I think now we're only paying like $6 and change per month. So pretty cheap on the cell phone. Next, we also put in an allotment of 1 million VND, which is not very much. I think it's like 55 Canadian and whatever that is in your US dollars. This allotment of 1 million VND is to cover miscellaneous expenses. Like for example, Rebecca scratched up her foot the other day. She had to go get some medicated ointment stuff to put on it just so she doesn't get an infection, which you don't want down here. That cost about $17 for one little tube, extra expense. On top of that, you're going to want other things like toiletries and shampoo and toothbrushes and razors and all that stuff. Miscellaneous expenses. And it also covers if you want to go out one night, you know, sit on the beach and have a coffee or a drink. All that stuff is extra money to the budget. Stuff that you're not going to do every day, but it is an expense you're going to have at some point. So 1 million for that. Obviously that's going to vary. If you like to go out and drink, you can go through that in a night easy. We usually don't go through our full million in a month. It's more of a reserve fund just in case we need it. Next is a big one, but this is only going to count for you if you plan on coming here and staying here for your entire 3-month visa, and then you leave and come right back like we did. Because then you're going to have to factor in the cost of a visa run, which we covered in the last video if you want to check it out up in the corner. I never know which corner it is. It's one of them. The cost of the visa run with the picture included, which they don't actually take at the border, is 3.2 million. That is the guaranteed cost you're going to have to pay for the bus service. On top of that, if you need to get the visa expedited and it doesn't show up in time, it's going to be another 900k. So by the time you divide that up over 3 months, then you're going to come out with this much, or this much. And last big thing on the list that I haven't seen covered in a lot of videos is the fact that you do have other expenses besides just your food and staying in a cheap apartment for $1,000. If you're coming down here, you need medical insurance. In our case, in Canada, our medical insurance is covered because we pay up the ass in taxes for everything. So our medical is supposed to be free, even though it's useless and it takes you forever to get an appointment and you would likely die before you ever see the doctor. But it's free, hey! But our medical coverage will run out if we stay out of the country for more than, I believe it's 8 months, I think we heard. Or some people say 6 months, some people say 8. So I'll say 6 to 8 months outside the country without returning, and you lose your provincial healthcare coverage. So if any of you guys don't know that, you definitely want to look into that before you think about coming over here long term. We use Safety Wing travel insurance. Now, we're not sponsored by Safety Wing, and fortunately we haven't had to use them to go to the hospital or anything yet. But that costs me about 1.737 million per month to have that Safety Wing insurance, and that's per person. So we have that in case we're over here past 8 months and our medical runs out in Canada, we will have coverage. Because you never know when you're going to have to go to the hospital, like my dumbass who got in a fight with a glass door and lost and ended up with a concussion. Luckily, I didn't have to go to the hospital because it wasn't severe, but it is indeed an extra expense that could come if you tip over on a bike or get hit in the absolutely crazy spaghetti bowl of traffic that is the knot. But now that we've went through those 9 points and I've literally paced the hole in the beach from walking back and forth, trying not to get caught in the rain too far from the bike, we're going to go back to the apartment now and break down these numbers and see what the total is based on discomfort living. And then see how many things we will have to take away to actually get you to $1,000 per month to live in Da Nang. So let's go check that out. Also, everybody's fishing today. Interesting day for fishing. Where we come from, if it's windy, you never fish. Here they don't fish at all unless it's windy, it seems. Interesting. You dropped your nuts. I'm also going to give you guys one really good tip that's completely not related to cost of living, but it's very, very helpful. If you're parking your scooter here anywhere, and it's hot as shit outside, which it's not today, it's cloudy, but if it is hot outside, find a tree and park your scooter under the tree. Because when the sun comes down, this seat will burn the ass right off you. So Rebecca has learned. She wears them short shorts. Every time she sits on there, she burns the butt cheeks off herself. So if you're going to park, and you don't have one of those aluminum seat covers that they put on at most of the restaurants, find a tree, park under a tree, and it'll save you some third-degree burns on your ass cheeks. Pro tip. Alright, we're back at the apartment. Now let's break down all these numbers. So we're going to add together the total of all the numbers that we talked about on the beach, and then there's actually extra expenses which I didn't speak about on the beach, which are additional costs that you're going to have to factor in. So I'm going to put me down in the bubble here, so you guys have a better view of this. So here's the list of the numbers we had on the beach, all totaled together. Now we must also factor in, if you are renting an apartment and not an Airbnb, you will also have a utility bill. Average utilities are around 2 million per month, give or take, depending on your air conditioning usage and how hot it is outside. If the sun is facing at the windows of your building all day, there's many different factors will change your utility bill. But you're right around the 2 million mark. We have had one a little less, around 1.7, but we have heard some people actually pay upwards of 4 million for utilities for 1 month, which is crazy. But you should be able to get it around 2. Also, your average water usage is going to be about 150,000 per person per month. Most places we viewed were between 100 and 200, so we put 150 as an average. A lot of rooms will have a cleaning fee. Now this varies a lot. Some places will have 1 to 2 cleanings a month for free. Some are 100,000 per cleaning twice a month. Others are 50,000 per week, once a week. So you're going to be looking roughly 1 to 200,000 a month at most places. So we also factored in 150,000 for that. And also, if you're going to be renting a bike, you will also have to put gas in the bike. I go through roughly about 70k per week, which is 280 for the month. So if you don't rent a bike, you are still going to have to pay for a grab. So don't forget, if you're eliminating renting your own transportation from this equation, you're also going to have to factor in that you still have to get places, whether you rent a grab bike or a grab car. So the cost is going to be there one way or another. With those 4 new costs added to our original list, now we come up with this total. And as you can see, this total is quite over budget, sitting at over 39 million dong, which is $1,536 US or $2,142 Canadian. As you can see, we are quite a bit over budget by 1/3 of the budget. So to make this as close to 1,000 US dollars per month as we can, we're going to start with the least priority and start to take things away until we get this $1,536 down to as close to 1,000 as we can. So first things to go are going to be gym supplements. That's a very small percentage of people will even have those, so there's 1.3 million gone. Next is gym pass. If you don't go to the gym at all, 833,000 gone. Cleaning fee, some places don't have one. If you're fortunate enough to find one of those places, your cleaning fee is gone. That's 150. If you don't rent a bike, which means you don't pay for the gas either, you're saving 2 million for the bike, roughly 280,000 for the gas. Next is coffee. If you don't drink coffee or you choose to be completely uncaffeinated for your entire trip, which is a miserable time, I can't imagine ever doing that down here with the delicious coffee that's everywhere, we're going to take off another 1.5 million for that. So no coffee at all. Oh, that hurts my soul. Next is groceries. I mentioned we spend 600k a week, which is 2.4 per month. Let's cut that in half. So 300k per week max. So we're going to take 1.2 million off the top for groceries. Next is the visa run. If you are only coming here on holiday, you're not going to have to worry about doing a visa run and coming back and paying all those extra expenses and visa fees and going to Laos and back and all that. You won't have any of those expenses. You will just fly here and fly home. You will still have to pay for plane tickets here and home, obviously, but you won't have this. So you are going to get charged one way or another because you have to leave the country somehow. Whether you walk, swim, or fly, you're going to have to pay. So the visa run is based on 3 months. So when you pay for the visa run, you are good for 3 months, meaning we will take that total number here and divide it by 3, giving us what it costs on average per month, which is 1.366 million and change per month. Next, we have to take off a big one in order to get this number down. So right now we are basing the food on 3 meals per day, 3 drinks per day. So if we were to cut that budget down by an entire third, meaning you are only going to eat 2 meals per day and have 2 drinks per day, and that's it. With your grocery bill also cut down drastically, meaning you're probably a very small person, you're not eating very much, or you're practicing your starvation diet. So we're going to cut the 16.2 million way down, and we're going to take 5.4 million off of that food bill for your daily costs. So that's going to be only 2/3 of your food budget left. Now we have finally reached the breaking point of $1,000 per month. We are now sitting at $984.27 US. And what did we have to lose to get there? Gym pass, supplements, cleaning fee for the apartment, the bike, the gas, all of your coffee, half of your groceries, your visa run, and 1/3 of your food budget. That's how much has to go away to break this number below $1,000 per month. So I think it's safe to say this myth is busted. If you are going to come here for a comfortable living, 1,000 US dollars is not going to be very comfortable. I've lived in some shitty situations and some nicer situations, and $1,000 a month here is not what I would consider one of the nicer situations. So I hope this video is really helpful to you guys. This video was never made to bash other videos about the myths of $1,000 a month. This is simply the facts. This is the information I looked for and Rebecca looked for before we came here, and many other people also look for, because if you're coming down here to the cheapest country in the world, there's a pretty good chance that you know before you get here that this is supposed to be the cheapest place. Meaning, why are you looking up the cheapest place unless you're traveling on a budget? If you're filthy rich, the odds of wanting to go to the cheapest place in the world are probably not that high. For those of us that aren't filthy rich and are on a strict budget, we're going to a place that we can afford to live in and actually have a life. So if you're coming here to do that, just know how much you are going to have to give up to meet what a lot of the videos say, which is you can live comfortably at $1,000 a month. No, you cannot. I'm sorry, but you cannot. Well, that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed that one and I hope you found it helpful. If you got value from this, please hit the like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. And thank you guys so much on the last video for all the comments and feedback. We really appreciate it. And we'll see you on the next one.